All units proceed to your post assignment. All units proceed to your post assignment.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to Roundabout Creative Chaos, a podcast about people who make things and the stories behind why they do it. I'm Tammy Coron, and I'm joined by my Roll for Initiative co-host, Tim Mitra, for episode 147, which was recorded on May 12th, 2026. On this episode, we talk with AJ Porfirio and Evan Derrick of Ryder Games. AJ didn't set out to build a successful board game company. He simply wanted to create a game he could play by himself. A few years later, Evan joined the company, bringing graphic design expertise and a published game to the table. Together, they transformed Ryder Games into something far bigger than either of them imagined. We discussed the art of designing solo board games, how Final Girl climbed into Board Game Geek's Top 100, and what Era 2 means for the future of the franchise. Are you ready to talk tech, music, arts, and zombies? I know we are, so grab your crossbow and let's get this episode started.
Three, 2, 1, and recording.
Wait, yes, 3, 2, 1, we are recording. Guess who we're waiting on?
Evan, probably?
Oh, that's a good guess.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
That was easy.
Yeah, don't feel bad. I was waiting on Tim.
Yeah. Well, the one time I show up early, my internet goes down.
And it's true. You were like kind of here early.
Well, it was 7:19 when I joined.
Yeah.
Tried to join. But my internet has gotten so bad, I put a switch on the power cable for the router. So I just have to reach over, turn it off, and turn it on again without having to unplug the stupid thing.
Okay.
Anyway, I think I need a new router or something because I've had this one forever.
I don't know. The cows provide my internet. So
Cows? So you're on CowNet?
Yeah, I'm on CowNet.
Powered by cowpucks? Well, what
cow
do you call
patties.
Them? We call them road apples, and like horse droppings are road apples up here in Canada. That's why the tragically hip made an album called Road Apples, and they laugh because their publisher didn't realize that's what it means, right?
I think AJ, you're in Tennessee, right?
Yeah, we're in a suburb of Nashville. Yeah.
Me too.
All right. Where are you at?
I'm up in the mountains.
She used to be. Was it Alexandria you were in before? Or
No,
Lexington?
I was in Lexington, right between
Lexington.
Nashville and Memphis.
And didn't you? What was the name of the place that you had the? Was it the Gaylord? Tammy had a conference once at the Gaylord Opry.
Oh, yeah.
House.
Opryland Hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that was fantastic. It was.
Yeah, that place is cool.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look, Evan. Should we not let him in? Should we just be like jerks and be like, no, you can't come in now? Too bad.
Sorry, the door is closed. Podcast has started.
As I say to my kids, welcome to our day already in progress.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we could start, Tim. You want to start, Tim?
Well, we've already started, haven't we?
We already have started.
That's the conceit. We started before you guys got here.
So welcome to the show, guys. I'm glad you can make it.
Thank you so much for having us.
I do have a confession to make before we start. You can't see it because it's on the wall behind my computer, but it is covered in Final Girl games. Like
That's awesome.
from top to bottom, I have every game for Final Girl. But before we get ahead of ourselves here, which I can do pretty easily, as you might guess, I'd like to know, and I'm sure our listeners would like to know, who you guys are and what you do.
Yeah. So I'm AJ Porfirio. I'm president of Ryder Games, and you might be shocked to learn that we make board games. But yeah, so I've been doing this for 15 years now, or so, 16 maybe. And the last, I guess it's been 7 or 8 years since we went full time. But Evan joined me kind of shortly after, a few years after I started the whole thing, and we've kind of built the company together, and it's been a fun and wild ride.
How about you, Evan? How did you get involved in all this? How did he rope you into being part of this adventure?
I was working in a job that was crushing my soul, and I loved board games and loved designing board games. And so I knew he had a board game company. And so I was just like, hey, let me pick your brain on starting my own board game company. And he was just like, well, what if instead of you starting your own thing, you came and worked with me? And so we kind of did like a 6-month trial period and figured out and if we worked well together, and it just clicked well. And that was one of the best decisions I'd ever made, because if I had started a board game company on my own, that would have been rough.
So AJ, how established were you at that time when you joined up?
So we had done Hostage Negotiator had definitely came out, or at least, yeah, I think it was out. And then we had started working on Salvation Road, which was, I think maybe our 4th or 5th game. And that was around the time me and Evan kind of started talking. Evan jumped in kind of in the middle of that project and then was around really ever since after that. And what Evan's saying is true for both of us, which is we both bring a different skill set and complement each other really well. And so just like he's saying, it might not have worked out. I don't know if, I know for certain we wouldn't have come this far without Evan and what he brought to the table too. It was a very clear sort of level up, I guess, in the quality of our games and especially the look and feel of our games. Evan brought his graphic design skills to the table, which is one of his many talents. But yeah, and it was like from there we started, we got to where we were hiring other people too. We just got where we were getting experts in all the different areas of business, and that's led us to where we are now.
So I guess the question, I'm going to be the devil's advocate here for a minute. And so what were you doing, both of you, I guess, before you decided to start making games? And like, what was besides the soul sucking jobs, we've all had those, but I mean, like what was the decision that made you decide I'm going to either start small and develop games, or I'm going to go all in and here we go? How did you get to that decision?
Well, I mean, my journey actually started, I wasn't intending necessarily to build a business at all. But what happened to me was I had been into games growing up, and I played professional baseball for a few years and wasn't playing games during that time. But then at some point I married my wife and we started having kids, and I just thought about games, and I decided to look up, hey, I wonder if there's a cool zombie game out there, because I love zombies. And this is, again, 16, 17 years ago. And I found Last Night on Earth, which is a pretty well-known zombie game. And I was like, told my wife, I was like, I don't care what else you get me. I want this for Christmas. And I was just super stoked. So Christmas rolls around. She gets me the game. Some of my in-laws were in town, but I couldn't get anyone to play the game with me. I was like, big bummer. Yeah. So I decided, well, if this game played single player, played solo, I would just play it myself. I'm introverted. I have no problem whatsoever doing that. Not that that's just for introverts, but for me, it was like, I don't care. Like, I would sit with all of them around doing other stuff, and I would play the game if I could. And so that got me thinking, well, what if I designed my own solo zombie game? And so the first game we ever crowdfunded is called If I'm Going Down, and it's a zombie game. And so that was really how it started. But even then, my intent wasn't necessarily to start a business. It was just to design a zombie game. And I found thegamecrafter.com, which lets you produce print-on-demand games. You can print one copy of your game. But then around that same time, Kickstarter started becoming a thing, and I was getting connected in the board game world a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing this anyway, so maybe I'll put my project on Kickstarter, and that's what I did. And I do have a business mind. I have a MBA that I got during my corporate job that I had at the time, and I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial spirit. So one thing led to another, and it was like, okay, like I did that, like I think I could do that again, and just kind of kept building and growing, and yeah, and then the rest is kind of history.
Had you ever designed any other games prior to that?
Just like as a kid, I mean, for fun. I did a lot of dungeon mastering in my younger days, and of course in D&D you design adventure, right? Design campaigns.
Yeah, but you still have to find people to play with you for that one. That's the trouble I run into all the time.
Yeah, and that at that time I did. I had friends down the street and we played all the time, and that wasn't so much of an issue for me. And in particular, part of the challenge too was not just that my family wouldn't play at the time, but we had just started having babies, and so getting out of the house and it's not great to say, hey, Jessica, you've been home with the kids all day. I'm gonna go play games with friends. So that was part of it too, and I think that solo games are a great thing for people in that situation or other situations, where they can't quite get out to game nights and stuff like that.
I read that you named the company because your son's middle names, and I never know what you read on the internet. Is it true? So is that true?
Wow, someone's done her research.
I try, man.
Yes.
I try.
That is a favorite question that gets asked almost in all interviews. So you did do your research, and it is true. My oldest son's middle name is Vance, not Van, but so we shortened it because of the kind of pun factor. And then Caleb, his middle name is Ryder. And then Leo is my youngest, but he wasn't actually around. He wasn't born yet when they come in. And it was my wife's idea to do that. And so she gets credit for the name of the company.
I'm guessing she's been pretty supportive throughout this whole thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's been great. And it's real work. Like she started staying home with our kids. She had a job in the music industry, and then we started having kids, and I know it was a tough decision for her to kind of leave that and stay home, but that was the kind of decision we made together. And that's real work. Don't let anyone ever tell you differently. So yes, she's been great and is great and has been super supportive of this sort of journey I've been on.
Now, did you two know each other before all this started, or did you meet through the whole game making process?
Evan stalked me. Why don't you tell him how you stalked me, Evan?
I did stalk you a little bit. I mean, I was an I say aspiring game designer. I actually had one design published, and I moved to Tennessee. And before moving, I had done some research of like, okay, what publishers are in the area. And I knew that AJ was in the area, and he had Hostage Negotiator on Kickstarter, and I backed it. At that juncture, I did not play solo board games. I thought that they were silly. But I was
You
just
had
like, well,
friends, unlike the rest of us.
well, like now I really like playing solo board games quite a bit. But at that point, early on, I was just like, well, if I'm going to play something by myself, I'll just play video games. And board games were much more of a social experience for me. But I had backed AJ's Kickstarter intentionally. Like, if I run into him, I can say, I backed your Kickstarter. And we ended up being at a mutual, I won't say friend, mutual acquaintance's house playing games. And AJ had been testing Salvation Road, the game he talked about. And we ended up playing a game together. I like knew who he was. At that juncture, he didn't know who I was. But we played, and I told him at that point about some connections that I had in the industry and kind of did some name dropping. And I think I mildly impressed him.
Well, the thing that impressed me most, I don't think any names you dropped I cared that much about, but Evan designed a print and play game called BSG Express that was basically Battlestar Galactica Express. So Battlestar Galactica, if you haven't played it, it's a pretty famous board game, and Evan distilled that down into a streamlined version of it, and I mean, I'm not joking if you went on Board Game Geek, which is one of the biggest board game sites, I mean, that game was everywhere. It was being talked about. There were forums everywhere. So I had never played it or anything like that, but just by how much I had seen it, when he mentioned that he designed that, I was like, oh, wow, like that's awesome, because I see that everywhere. So that impressed me. and I had no idea that he was like kind of going there to talk to me, but we hit it off like pretty quick, I think. And I was like, and I think you had already, Dark Moon was out, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like I want to play that, because Dark Moon was the published version of BSG Express. And so I was like, dude, you got to like come over and teach me and my friends, like we'll play Dark Moon. And so, yeah.
I was just happy that he was inviting me to a game group with people that I would enjoy socializing with. I love the board game industry, but the board game industry and the role playing industry attracts a number of people who I think gravitate towards it because it gives them an outlet for socializing that they wouldn't necessarily have otherwise. But a lot of people in our industry can be a little awkward, a little a little a little challenging. And I had been looking for a game group of people that I really connected with well, and I had not found it yet. This group that AJ and I had gone to was not that. I remember being there and being like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot come back here. This is too much." And I was just like, "Oh," and AJ was just like, "Why don't you come and play games with me and my friends?" And I was like, "Oh, thank goodness, please." And ended up going, and I was just like, "Oh, look, these are people I can really relate to and enjoy." And so it started off that way, and we just played games probably very casually on a weekly basis for probably about a year before any discussion of even like joining companies or me joining him or doing things together even came up.
So, as a novice, I gotta ask, how big is the gaming industry or board gaming industry? Would you think?
It's a fraction of video games, but it's ever growing. It's, I mean, particularly there was a big boom during COVID. It's definitely a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, the bigger companies. I mean, you know, Hasbro and Asmodee are definitely in the billions. But I mean, most board game companies are small caps, if you want to call them that, or even indie, where you know their revenues are far less than, you know, some probably aren't even six figures, and a lot are between, you know, 50K and a few $100,000, and then you have some middle of the road companies in the low millions to mid millions. But it's a pretty niche industry, and solo gaming is niche within that niche. Right. But it's big enough for us to, you know, do it for our livelihood and
support our families, and also support the families of like 8 or 9 other people. So
yeah, so if somebody was they wanted to get into the game, they wanted to build a game themselves, it is possible to, like, I'm an iOS developer, and a lot of us get pizza money from our work, right? But I mean, like, so there's enough money out there that if somebody has a decent game, they can make a living, 1 or 2 games kind of thing.
yes.
Yep, for sure. I mean, the key is you gotta find a hit, right?
Yeah.
Like making one game is not the challenge. Making enough games to have a hit, and then also knowing how to run a business, that's the real challenge. Because a lot of people, I think, have the same, probably a similar story to mine, where, hey, oh, Kickstarter, that's a thing. But then they do it once and they're like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know I was going to have to learn how to do taxes and inventory controls and like all this
shipping,
other stuff.
Dealing with tariffs and
yeah.
So it's like, so I always say, do you want to run a business, right? Like it's everywhere. It's cool to be like, yeah, I want to design a game, but sure, do you want to run a business? If not, just pitch to publishers.
You had mentioned Board Game Geek, and I know that that's a pretty big site. And I'm just wondering, for someone who's new to game development, is that a must-have place to be to play test their game, to get the word out, stuff like that? And how much did you rely on that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Board Game Geek there's a lot of value if you are trying to kind of go down that path. I will say I don't think it's as, I think when I started, it was probably 100% necessary. Nowadays, there are communities of board gamers in a lot of different places. So that's just one. It is a very valuable one, and there's a lot of value to going on there, and a lot of education I think you can get from there. But I wouldn't go as far in today's land to say it's required. There are other places. There are great Facebook groups. There are Reddit communities, lots of different kind of places where you can go find a board game community circle. But if you are going to go that path, you will, I mean, it benefits you to go on Board Game Geek because it's the biggest database of board games on the internet. It is where people go to find out, like, oh, what's a rating of a game? What do people think of the game? And so you wouldn't necessarily have to kind of start there. But I would say if you get to the point where you're publishing, like, yeah, you want to put your game up on Board Game Geek and let people rate it, talk about it. It gets presented there. Yeah.
Didn't you all just have a game hit the top 100 over there?
We did, yes. Final Girl.
Save, research, Evan.
Yeah.
Research.
Yeah. You're crushing it. Yeah, we did. I can't remember. It was early this year, I believe, in the early part of this year.
Yeah, it was a few months ago.
We became, and Final Girl is the first ever solo only game to make the top 100. So it was a very proud moment for us. And we had been the top 200 at least for over a year before. So it was slowly climbing, and we had it on our goals. We had it as a long-term goal from years ago. And so it was a big moment for us.
And Final Girl is one of the ones that you two designed together, right?
Indeed, yes. We're co-designers on that one. It's actually, is that our only co-design? Well, I guess we worked together kind of on Detective, but that's not a true co-design.
Yeah, this is our only true co-design.
Yeah.
The best corollary for the BGG Top 100 is the IMDb Top 100. Like it's a lot of fan. Like if you look at the Top 100 on IMDb, it's not necessarily going to be like. It's going to vary quite a different from like American Film Institute's Top 100. It's going to be a lot of all of Christopher Nolan's movies are going to be all of Quentin Tarantino's movies are going to be on there. So it's going to be a Top 100 that is much more populist, but it's still getting a movie into the Top 100 on IMDb is a significant accomplishment in terms of like reaching some kind of pop culture watershed. And so that would be the best corollary for our game making it into the top 100 on BGG.
Well, it's got to be a halo effect too, right? Like in terms of you get there and then you have new users find the game.
I think so, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Final Girl also won a 2021 Golden Geek Award, right?
Yes.
We won two. We won best solo game and best theming. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that like one of the first solo games out there?
No, it's definitely not the first. And that actually, even for us, Final Girl is an evolution of Hostage Negotiator. If you play Hostage Negotiator, you would actually recognize a lot of the rules and mechanisms.
When you designed the Hostage Negotiator, was that one of the first of its time back then?
Yeah, so that was definitely early. I believe it was the first, fairly certain it was the first single player only game to go on Kickstarter. I could be wrong about that, but I think that might be true.
I think you're right. I think that's what I read.
Yeah. And back then there was still other solo games, but it was, especially single player only, was very few and far between.
Yeah, single player only was very rare. The initial the solo board game that I can think of that actually made some kind of registry was a game called Friday by Friedman Fries, and that came out in 2011. I'm sure were some solo board games before then, but that's the one that like showed up and was just like, oh, this is a solo game. Hostage Negotiator was in 2015, so it was 4 years later. So Hostage Negotiator wasn't the first, but it was definitely on the front wave of like the new who wants to sit down and play a board game by themselves kind of movement.
Take us through that design process. Like, where do you even start on something like that?
Well, for me with Hostage, so a couple things. The zombie game I talked about, I had always intended to be a solo, obviously, by the story. I ended up adding a second player, so that was actually one that could be played cooperatively with two players. But it was really meant to be a one-player game, and I was, frankly, a little scared to make it only one player because... Again, this wasn't much of a thing back then, and
not at all.
I wanted it to have a chance to have an audience, and so I kind of went against my gut a little bit and did that. So when Hostage Negotiator came around, which the genesis of that was I wanted to think of cool themes that hadn't really been done in board gaming, and I thought of movies, like what are cool, like dramatic movies, and the Hostage Negotiation theme came up to me, and it was like, well, of course there's no games of that because no one wants to play as like a hostage taker and where you like kill innocents, or at least not many. There are actually a few I've learned, but 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 I was like, this is the perfect theme for a solo game because I can make the game and the AI of the game basically will be the bad guy. And so no one's making any decisions. The system is just telling the bad guy what to do. And so the theme was great. I took the deck building mechanic it was a pretty new and popular thing back then. And I twisted that on its head and basically said, one of the things I didn't like about deck building was you buy these great cards and they go in your deck and then they come into your hand at the wrong time, or you can't
Not
use
at
them
all.
because or you don't get the combo. And so, and this is in Final Girl too. The cards go straight into your hand. So it has the market like a deck building game, but you're buying the cards straight into your hand. And that was new. No one had done that. I still don't even know if outside of our game it's been done much. And then I also added, I like dice, and I like the idea of like, yeah, you get the card you want, but the dice are a little bit going to determine, does
Right.
the card do actually what you want? And so, and you can manipulate that and a little bit. You have some control over things, but that's kind of like how it started for that game. It really started theme first and knowing I wanted to make a solo only. And then the I'm typically a theme first designer. You'll often hear designers are either theme first or mechanics first. Like, oh, this cool mechanic that I thought of, and then they'll figure out the game around that. Me and Evan are kind of both a
Yeah.
little bit theme first designers, and we enjoy theme as much or more than just the mechanisms of the game.
How do you take a system like that and then transfer it from hostage to something like Final Girl into horror?
So hostage negotiator functions. You're having a conversation with a bad guy, and you're trying to negotiate with him in order to save hostages and not let too many of them get killed and satisfy their demands and all that other kind of stuff. Well, AJ and I also have to be huge horror movie fans. AJ has like a former life in which he was attempting to break into the horror haunted house industry. And so both of us are giant horror fans. And at some point, the idea was just floated. I don't know if I came up with it. Like, what if we took the hostage negotiator system and ported it over to horror movies? Initially, the idea was that you were going to be the killer, and you were going to be you were going to be a killer in a horror movie, trying to like murder as many innocent camp goers who were fornicating in the bunkhouses or whatever as you could. And that was the initial pitch for it. And as I started thinking about it, I was like, that's going to be fun for a very small subset of people. But most people want to be the hero. They don't want to be the bad guy. And so we need to swap it over to you're the hero and you're fighting against the killer. So basically, it was honestly the evolution of the hostage negotiator system into the Final Girl system is one of those things that I'm not even entirely sure how much I contributed, what AJ contributed. It was like this is just a big blend of us and our ideas and stuff. But it was to take the system that had been popularized with Hostage Negotiator, make a game that made you feel like you were in a horror movie, that also felt for people who loved Hostage Negotiator, that it felt like it was that system, but that it also felt new enough. So it honestly, it was kind of it was a mess. I know messy isn't probably the right word, but it was a bit of a meandering process as we kind of figured things out. And honestly, I would say that there's an enormous amount of luck that brought us to the game that has been as successful as it was. We had really good ideas and we really pushed them in the right direction. But even when you have good ideas and you push them in the right direction, there's no guarantee that what you have is going to like actually connect with audiences. And so I think there's a huge luck part that what we came up with and what we made really has resonated with an enormous portion of the game board game audience.
What I really like about Final Girl, I don't know if Hostage has this, but the ability to mix and match, different locations, different killers. That's probably one of my favorite things about it. Was that something that y'all had thought about from the get go, or did you sort of build that in as you were working on it?
Hostage Negotiator has like a pretty basic, like you're playing against different bad guys.
Abductors. Yeah.
Yeah, different abductors. And so there's a slight mix and match in that, oh, which bad guy do I want to play against today? Final Girl took that and 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 turned it into a twofold proposition. You have a killer and a location. So you get Hans, which is kind of like a stand-in for Jason, at Camp Happy Trails, which is a stand-in for Crystal Lake. But then you can play another killer at another location, and then you can mix and match. So there was a little bit of mixing, like that kind of variability existed within a Hostage Negotiator, and we kind of took that and jacked it up, like we injected steroids into it.
You sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hostage system, I mean, there's some mixing of conversation cards so that the conversation cards are equivalent to the action cards in Final Girl. There's kind of two base sets in hostage, and it is compatible, cross compatible, but comparably to like Final Girls is much more modular. And I do remember, first off, Evan, you came with the theme idea, and I just suggested, I said, well, why don't we use the Hostage Negotiator system? We already know that's popular and successful. And then Evan took it and kind of put together the first version. And so Evan did that. I remember vividly, we had a whiteboard session, and where we kind of like put the game up on a whiteboard and we just brainstormed, and like that was one of the key moments. Another key moment was we had other games with these magnet boxes, and I had this idea. This is when Evan was doing the Camp Happy Trails feature film. I started doing the Poltergeist one, and I had this idea of like, what if each box was a separate killer and location, and you can. I think we already knew we wanted to mix and match, but I had the idea for the box model, which Tammy, you obviously know, but for folks listening, each box is double-sided, and one side is the killer and one's the location. And so if you're playing one killer from one box, like Evan said, and a different location from another box, you just take each side of those two boxes and you leave the other stuff in their side. So it's very user-friendly in order to support that modularity. And I don't know. I don't remember how that idea came to me. And I also remember we didn't know if it was going to work.
Yeah, for a long time, we thought that you had basically destroyed the company with this complicated idea that our manufacturer just could not get right. And we were like, oh my gosh, nothing works. This is terrible.
Let's talk about the packaging and how everything comes. I mean, because when people walk into my office and they see my setup for Final Girl, I mean, it's displayed like one of my favorite things in this room. It's got its own shelf, it's got its own lighting. It's not just a game to me, it's a collector's piece. And I think that if the packaging were any different than what it is now, it sounds like you really worked hard for that. It probably wouldn't have earned quite such a display that it has. I guess, AJ, you're the brainchild behind that one.
Yeah, I get to claim the feature film box model, but I will say, like, a lot of the stuff you're talking about, Evan gets to claim and his team, because the look of the boxes on the spines and how that presents and how the ultimate boxes present, where they line up and create this kind of mural, that's Evan and his team get to kind of take credit for that. And so it's like I said, like all of these like magical moments and ideas just all added up to make this really special product we've now learned. And looking back, it's like, oh yeah, that was a critical moment, and that was so smart, and we didn't even think it was that necessarily
Right.
that smart at the time, and like all these things, like it's just one of those things where you make magic happen, and you don't really realize it while you're doing it until you get the sort of response that you get. And for us, I mean, we'd had successful games before, but Final Girl was just on a whole other level. And I mean, even I think this week I ran across someone with similar comments to you, Tammy, where they're just like, just looking at it and experiencing the art is such a joy, and people love it, having it on their shelf like that. And that's one of the things that stood out to me early on was the way people would talk about Final Girl. They would say things like, oh my gosh, I've fallen in love with this game, or like just things like that no one had ever said that about any of our other games. Like, I mean, Hostage was a successful game. People would say they really liked it. They thought it was cool. But like for someone to say, I fell in love, or you see all the time, oh, this is my new addiction. Like people just realize, like they play one feature film and they're like, yep, I'm going back to get more tomorrow. Like, and just how they talk about it, that was something and still talk about it. Those things still happen. It's just amazing.
Do you attribute some of your success to platforms like Kickstarter and GameFound and things like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were Kickstarter veterans definitely, but by the time Final Girl came around, so I think
Yeah.
that helped us present it in the best possible way. But oh yeah, of course. I mean, I think the game would have still been successful. But the fact that we could reach so many people directly and present our true vision for the product, that's what Kickstarter lets a lot of us publishers do, is like, instead of just putting out a game at a time, we can just give you this big giant box with like 5 of them, right? Like that's almost impossible to do without a lot of cash in the bank to just fund yourself. And so yeah, it let us do fun stuff, and it absolutely deserves a lot of credit for our success.
A lot of it has to do with just we've been in the crowdfunding and the Kickstarter world for so long that we understand the audience that's there, and we understand the audience that we've cultivated there so well that
Right.
we know almost instinctually which kind of products or games are going to work really well there and which aren't. So we even currently, when we create new products, we have products that we don't actually put on Kickstarter. We don't put everything on
Right.
Kickstarter. Some of our products go straight to retail because they're the kind of game or product that isn't going to necessarily thrive in that environment. So, but then other things really do thrive really well there. So it's kind of just a lot of experience knowing what works there. And then once we put a game there, kind of knowing how to, like, we've done very simple games where it's just like, hey, this is the one pledge tier you get. For people who aren't familiar with crowdfunding, usually there's like 5 different versions of a product you can get. You can pay like $30 and get the very bare bones product. You can pay $50 and get the slightly deluxe product, or you can pay like $150 and get the super mega deluxe version. Um,
Right.
and so sometimes we put games on Kickstarter where it's just like, this is the one thing. You're just getting this. There's not really like extra stuff. And then other times, like with Final Girl, we just keep adding stuff on to where it becomes this massive, insane kind of like, do you want all of this extra crazy stuff? And then a lot of and a lot of people do, and so as we've kind of placed our products into that world, we've made mistakes, and we've learned a lot of lessons too. So a lot of it is just kind of almost just like an instinctual understanding of like what this audience that is here in this specific place will respond well to.
So I have 2 things. One, I did just see your unboxing for Series 4 today, and I can't wait for that to arrive in the mail. I'm over the moon. I want it here now, to be honest with you. The other thing is, and this kind of ruined it. You guys have ruined my Kickstarter experience, and let me tell you what I mean by that. You were one of the first board games that I backed on Kickstarter. I normally back comic books or just artwork, things like that. That kind of Kickstarter stuff. And I don't know how I learned, or I know exactly how I learned about Final Girl. It was a friend of mine who is very much into board games. They're like, oh, you got to try this game because I know you can't have any friends to come over and play with you. So this is great solo game. And they had already owned your first Final Girl Series 1. And by this time you were on Series 2. And I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to go in, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to get the first one, the second one, because I'm either all or nothing. And the way that you presented your Kickstarter was easy to follow, easy to understand. Everything made sense. The tiers were perfectly aligned with, different people that I talked to about it were like, yeah, I fit into this box. I fit into that one. And then I just kept, every time you guys had a new campaign, I'm like, yep, I'm a backer. Here I am. I want it. And then this other nameless company put up their thing for their game, and it happens to be a game that I enjoy, and they're doing a board game now. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to back these guys. They needed to really talk to you about how to do it right. And it's not that they did a bad job. It's just that I think you guys set the bar so high on Kickstarter and how to do it, how to make games the right way, that I really don't think anyone should do it without talking to you first and looking at it. Which
There's a conference talk in there, I think. Yeah.
That's a
there's
great
conference talk. Well,
compliment.
don't you have? And I'm looking over here at my notes because I don't remember the name of it. But AJ, don't you have a publishing publisher something or other where you're teaching people how to do stuff like
I
this?
did, yeah, I did do a program for a little while.
Yeah, on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it was called Power Publishing, and I'm not doing it anymore because I learned just the I don't know why I thought I had enough time to do that also. But I did give it a shot. I did it for several months, and I realized how long it was going to take me to kind of grow that program to where I really wanted and honestly needed it to be in order for it to be worth my time. And so I don't do it anymore, but you could still search that up and find some of the YouTube videos, anyone out there. And some of the students, or I had one in particular is just really doing great in the industry. And it's a lot. I mean, we've gained so much knowledge over the years, and my idea was to sort of share that in a program. But yeah, like I said, it was just very time consuming, and I'm still full time running and president of Van Ryder Games, and so I decided I wasn't going to continue that. But it's I look at it like we get you only, if you mess up once, that's all it takes, right? For customers to kind of, you to lose a customer and lose a lot of customers. And if you get, I always look at people, and I encourage our whole team to look at our products as not just the product itself, but it's the entire experience. Like what you're talking about, Tammy, is we give you an experience on Kickstarter. Like, when you come to a Final Girl or Van Ryder Games campaign, you know the kind of experience you're going to get. You're going to get well presented. You're going to get good pricing. You're going to get, after the campaign, this is probably as much or more important than everything else, good communication leading all the way up to the point of delivery. And you're going to get good, solid, well-packed delivery. And so everything in that entire arc is the customer experience. That's the crowdfunding experience. And then you have the open box experience of the game itself. So we think about all of that. It's easy to just think, oh, I'm just going to make a game, print some stuff, and we're going to send it to people. That's the bare minimum. But what we want to do is really make customers for life, and people who love not just the game itself, but the process and the fun. Like, we get people all the time saying our campaigns are some of the most fun campaigns they've been a part of, because another part of that is we cultivate our community. And that's not, you don't have full control over that, especially on crowdfunding sites, but we're kind of intentionally set a certain culture, like, within our company and community, and it's a positive one, and it's one that people enjoy.
And your support is top notch, by the way.
Yeah, that's a part of our experience too, right? Like, if you have a problem, we want to fix it for you. Shout out to Stephanie on our team. She's on the front lines of our customer experience, customer service team. And yeah, we pride ourselves on that.
I was going to say, if you're on the fly on the wall for some of the conversations we have, the amount of time we talk about certain aspects of packaging or presentation or language on Kickstarter projects. I mean, we will spend hours and hours and hours debating, like, all kind, like the fine print and what does this do and what does that do, and it would seem probably absurd and insane to a layperson to hear us debate and discuss and go back and forth the amount of time that we do on certain aspects of our products or packaging, but all of that kind of builds to the experience that we're able to present and the products that you get. It really is all thought out. One of the things that's most frustrating to us is when people are online and they're just like, oh my gosh, did they even think about this or whatever? And it's just like, you have no idea. We thought about that way more than you did for so many more hours. And I could tell you why.
I would love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. Just saying. All right, I have one more thing, and then we're going to get to Tim's favorite part of the show.
Part two, yes.
Part two of the show. When I got the message today, am I to understand that Series 4 is the last and final girl, or did I misread that?
So Series 4 is the end of Era 1, is what we're calling it. So we are going to continue with Final Girl, but
thank goodness.
starting next year, we will move into Era 2. And at a high level, we're still even defining exactly what that means, but at a high level, we're basically giving ourselves permission to not have to continue necessarily to follow the model that we set in Series 1. Because right now, or in Era 1, because right now everyone expects, well, we're going to get a big box, and like, we're going to get this, that, and the other. And like, are we going to get vehicle action cards for Terror from the Grave? And like, it's become this beast, right? Where it's like,
it has become a beast.
The fans, like, we can't make another feature film because it needs to have a vehicle action card for Terror from the Grave. So like, and you know, we did this to ourselves some, so yeah, we're not blaming anyone else. But
we take full responsibility.
We take full responsibility, but we want to be able to, and we've started doing this some with Series 4. Like, we were putting the feature films out. This is the first time we put them out as we went. And then you could kind of get the big box at part of the Kickstarter, or you could just get it all at once. But we're essentially giving ourselves permission to make Final Girl how we want to make it, and not in a way that, like, we understand completionists and wanting to have everything, and people can still do that. However, we're giving ourselves permission to not be responsible for that. So if you want to collect everything, that's cool. You can collect everything. We're not promising you like XYZ tchotchkes that we've done in the past just because we've done in the past. So that's it at a high level, but we've got some exciting things planned, and we're going to get Series 4 out first, and that'll have its time in the spotlight, you know, through the rest of this year. And then we'll start to put out Era 2, and Era 2 will be completely compatible with Era 1. So no one's going to have to go repurchase products, or we will make some changes to some, you know, we'll probably do, like, for example, a good one is we're going to add epic finales to all the feature films. The way we had done it in the past is, because they didn't even exist in Series 1 when it first came out, we added them to bonus features boxes. And so now we're not going to have to we're going to like kind of level set the product, but it's not going to be done in a way that you as an Era 1 collector are going to feel like, well, you got to buy everything again, because we definitely don't want that. You've spent lots of money already.
Don't tell my husband.
Yeah. So everything will be compatible, and we'll be doing some new and different things. So we're excited about that, but it's absolutely continuing. We're just ending Era 1.
The best comparison is not to compare ourselves to Marvel or DC, but at some point their universes get so bloated with canon, and like anybody writing a new, you know, Iron Man comic or whatever has to reference like any number of things that have come over the past 30 years. And so it gets so onerous that at some point they just wipe it, and they're like, okay, right, you know what? We're just resetting everything, and now it's the new DC 42 or whatever, and we're starting from the ground up, because we're so tired of like fans being like, well, you know what? Back in issue number 34, Iron Man's evil twin was really from Earth number 652, and so they just, because it just gets so much, they just kind of wipe it, and they're like giving themselves permission to continue with the characters that everybody loves, but not be constrained to the just absolute mountain of choices and things that have been made in the past. And I think that that's probably the best way to express what we're doing with Era 2 is that we built up this mountain of, well, when we do a series, it comes with this, it comes with this, it comes with this, it comes with this. And that was beginning to really hamper our creativity and our ability to really innovate with the world and the system. And so we've kind of level set it, like AJ said.
No, that attitude, though, did save the characters in Galaxy Quest, if you remember.
Yes.
Enjoying the show? Good. We want to keep it that way. If you've got a guest suggestion, a story to share, or just something to say, we want to hear from you. Send us a message at interviews@roundaboutcreativechaos.com. Now, where were we?
Okay, so we have this part of the show we like to call the 13 questions, and Tammy likes to pretend that I give her grief, but today I'm actually going to give her grief because we talked this morning about some of the questions, and we reauthored the questions since our first iteration.
Listen, man, we talked at like 2 a.m. I was tired.
We're in era 2 of the Roundabout Creative Chaos podcast, so. And to tell you the truth, so she's written these 13 questions, and we've used them traditionally for the last, umpteen years we've been doing this show. But I also have a podcast, and in my podcast, I also have a bunch of questions. So in honor of Final Girl, I'm going to pull cards from both boxes.
All right.
So if you gentlemen are seated comfortably, we can begin with the 13 questions, or 13 or so questions. So are you ready?
Ready.
So
Let's do it.
I'll ask you both, and you can take turns answering. But the first question is, what is your favorite word?
Oh, I tell you my favorite word. My favorite word is therapy. Therapy is great. Everyone needs therapy. I'm very happy about therapy. My life is so much better because of therapy. Most people are not able to grow without therapy. So
Right,
I love therapy.
Man, I feel like I'm gonna be kind of lame, but I'm gonna go with happy. I feel like it's not just it's my favorite word because that's my favorite state of being. Like I want to be happy, and that's part of why I love games, because games make me happy.
Okay, so what is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word I'm gonna go with is lose, because, well, I don't like to lose, but really it's because it's actually because people spell it with 2 O's and it drives me nuts. So
That's
that
loose.
is my least.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's my least favorite word because of that.
My least favorite word is moist.
Yes. Yeah.
No one likes the word moist.
You are the first person on this 13th season to use that. We have a moist counter, so congratulations, Evan. You won the
Yes.
first moist counter award.
Yeah.
I look forward to my name, my badge that you will be making for me and custom sending to me.
I'll have to 3D print that one.
I look forward to trolling you and starting to use that word more around you.
No.
Okay, so what is the best sandwich?
Grilled cheese, baby. Could eat grilled cheese all day long.
It's my wife's tuna fish sandwich is my favorite sandwich. She makes an amazing tuna fish.
What's the specifics on the 2 recipes here?
Well, I don't know how she does it because it's not any fancy ingredients, but I think it's just like the amounts of salt and pepper she figures out to like put in it, and the right amount of mayonnaise and toast in the bread, and just, I don't know. She's actually really good at making all sandwiches, but that's my favorite one.
I've never heard this before. I would like to request a Jessica Porfirio tuna sandwich in the future.
Okay.
We'll get one in the mail to you right away.
It's right with your badge. It'll come with your badge.
It'll come with my moist badge.
Yes, and it'll be a moist sandwich.
Oh, God.
So what is your most treasured possession? Like, what, you're running out of a burning building, what do you grab?
My journals. I've been journaling for years now. A lot of them are pretty painful to read back through because they represent pretty traumatic, painful moments in my life, but they're like a snapshot of what I was going through at the time. So I think those are probably my most important treasures.
Hmm.
I mean, mine's again maybe a little lame, and I'm definitely not carrying it out in a fire. But I have a 90-inch TV in our it's that's in our bonus room. I love watching movies on that.
You see him walking out running with his TV.
Yeah,
You're
it's
not
not
the
happening.
fur baby, I'll save you.
Save the TV. Tell the
That's not a
fireman.
one-person job.
Yeah, we'll get the fireman to help you with that.
Yeah.
What's the most interesting place you've ever been?
I've been a lot of places in my life. I grew up in China, and so I've traveled a lot. I would say probably it's a tie between Hong Kong, which I lived in for a year, and New Orleans. I think both places represent a a absolute melting pot of different cultures that create its own feel that you don't get anywhere else. Hong Kong doesn't feel like any place else on earth, and neither does New Orleans. They are both one of a kind, absolutely unique.
My favorite place is it's not going to be my answer, but my favorite place in the world is Hawaii. I love it. Everyone should go. If you're a beach person at all, go to Hawaii at least once in your life.
Which island, though?
I've been to several. I really love the Big Island, but I've been to Maui the most. I have not been to Kauai yet, so I'll have to go to that one. And the main island's cool too. It's kind of weird seeing a big old city on the islands, but North Shore and that's all really great. But I had the good fortune to be able to go to Japan in my earlier days. I played baseball and I made the national team in junior college, and we went over there. That was super interesting. And then I went to Barcelona in grad school, so it's going to be a tie between those two for me. Barcelona, wow, amazing culture. I got to see the festival where they do like the human pyramids and stuff, like in the cathedrals there. Like, if I had to put the word interesting on something, that city is definitely interesting.
Yeah, Sacre Famille is amazing to stand in front of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been to Kauai. It's probably my favorite island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
I highly recommend. It's unlike any other island that I've been to. Anyway, what's your favorite action movie?
Oh, I know what Evan's is. Go ahead, Evan.
Oh, I've got a bunch. I mean,
yeah, but it's your number one movie. You said it was your number one movie.
My number one movie is Mad Max Fury Road, which is, I think, probably the greatest film of the last 2 decades. However, I would also put The Raid in there as like one of the best action movies of the last 2 decades, and also a Korean film called The Man from Nowhere, which I watch every year.
The Raid? What's The Raid?
The Raid, it's like The Raid: Redemption. It's an Indonesian action film that was directed by a British director named Gareth Edwards. It's pure. It's just so perfect. Mad Max Fury Road is such a phenomenal accomplishment. A bunch of directors, like for example Steven Soderbergh, watched Fury Road and immediately called the director of Fury Road and was like, "How did no one die while you made this?" Like, it's
pretty cool.
It's shocking what they did in it and how no one died. People should have died. It's incredible and dangerous and wild. But then The Man from Nowhere is this Korean action film, and it has got, man, I just love it. I watch it every year. It makes me cry. It makes me love it. So I'm a huge action movie fan. So if you couldn't tell.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, Fury Road would be up there for me too. But I'll go with I love Saving Private Ryan. I love Inception. I think I'm going to give Inception the nod. I just love I love not just the action, but the world that was created in that movie, and how everything works, and kind of makes sense a little bit, even though it's also confusing at the same time. And just the question, you ask yourself questions at the end of what's real and what's not. I'll go with that.
Okay. What's the worst job you've ever had?
The worst job, it wasn't even a job for me. It was I guess, an interview. So I got my degree in sport management, and when we moved to Nashville, I was looking for a job, and there was an ad for a sports marketing company. Well, and this is back when there were still ads in newspapers, and so I got excited and I went to this job. They're like, okay, yeah, come for an interview. So I like dress up like you would to go to an interview. And it turns out this thing is like basically a door-to-door sales company. So we drive out to Clarksville, which is like 40 minutes away from Nashville. I'm in like dress shoes and a suit, and I'm following this guy around as he's like door-to-door selling like Pizza Hut coupons to people. And so I was like, this is like the biggest bait and switch ever. Like, this is not, there's nothing in this company's doing has anything to do with sports marketing. It was some kind of like MLM type of, like, when I got there was like this cheering going on in the room, and like, I don't know, man, it was crazy. And I'm like, yeah, like I ended up at some point taking off my shoes. I was like walking around barefoot. Like, I was just like, this is awful. So that's the worst job that I actually never got.
Okay.
My worst job is I work for a company called BeliefNet. It was one of the biggest like faith-based websites on the internet, but by the time when I started working for them, they'd just been purchased by a company that's primary source of revenue was selling cell phones to old people. So they had realized that this was a market that was going to literally die. And so they decided they'd get into some new stream. And so they bought this website, BeliefNet. I actually became the entertainment editor. I got to do a lot of really cool stuff. I like got to go to press junkets. I interviewed Anthony Hopkins. I interviewed Ewan McGregor, Emily Blunt. I actually got to do a lot of cool stuff. But oh my gosh, my bosses, the people there were so out of, like, they just had no idea what was going on. It was miserable. They were out of touch. I remember my boss, my third child, my wife was pregnant with my third child, and my boss brought me in. And it was just like, when do you need time off? And I was like, well, when the baby's born. And he's like, when is that going to be? And I was like, well, I could give you the due date, but that's not really how babies work. I cannot give you specific. He's like, well, I need to know the specific dates you'll be gone. And I was like, do you not understand how childbirth works? Like, how is this a conversation we're even having? So that was my worst job.
Yeah. What words or phrases do you overuse the most?
I use words like damaged, triggered, dysregulated. I probably use those words way too much.
Oh, I recognize these words. These are therapy words.
They are therapy words, which ties back to my favorite word.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm saying like, what was that or what's that a lot lately. I don't know if my hearing's going, but I've kind of noticed like I don't know. I feel like I'm asking people to repeat themselves more lately. So hope that's not the case. And it's just I think maybe peripheral sounds are like doing their thing a bit more.
I call it selective
older.
hearing.
Yeah, or maybe it's I've had that. I've definitely had that for a long time.
Laser focus. My husband does it to me all the time. I'll be into something and he'll come in my office and talk, and I'll be like, I can feel his presence.
Okay, what's your favorite smell?
Ooh, I don't know, Evan.
Probably my current favorite smell is my girlfriend's perfume.
Man, I'm gonna again, I don't know if it's lame, but like I freaking love seafood, and like crawfish is like one of my favorites. So like Cajun crawfish, the smell is so good. I'm gonna go with that because that's what I'm thinking of, and I'm actually I do a crawfish boil every year at my house.
Yeah, so when we doing the crawfish boil?
I think we might be doing it in June, and you're going to be gone. I just realized that today.
No, that you cannot do it. You cannot do it between the dates of June 1st and June 20th. That is not okay.
Oh, you know those dates, but not childbirth dates? Come on, Evan.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you having another baby like in that range or something?
I am not having another baby.
All right, we'll see what we could do.
Can't believe you didn't say my wife's tuna fish sandwich.
You can edit that in, though, can't
I'm
you?
glad you said tuna fish sandwich because I was a little nervous. I was like,
Okay, what number am I thinking of?
25.
42.
No,
We could be here a while. Are we supposed to keep going?
no, you only get one guess. It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay.
okay.
Zombies, aliens, robots. Who's coming for us first?
I think you need to update this question.
I think so too.
There's only one answer currently.
Robots?
Yes,
Yeah.
robots.
What, you didn't see the UFO files? They didn't change your mind, Evan?
No, they did not change my mind. Now, you could say, the question could be like, how long do you think it is before the robots come for us?
Right,
And that,
right.
you
They're
could like
already
play
here.
into that. Yeah.
They're already here. I mean, my favorite thing about the unreleased, about the UFO files that came out is they released a whole bunch of things from the Apollo program, which is all documented,
Yeah.
right? And we've all read all those transcripts already. Okay, so here's the important question.
Well, hang on. I expect a really good answer out of both of you, but especially you, AJ.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. None of this.
All
This
right.
is going to be a lame answer. You need to think about
Let me
this.
get my game face on.
This is the question which pinges this, whether this show gets published or not. Tammy will tell you.
Yep.
What would you do in a zombie apocalypse?
I think about this a lot, actually. I know what I would try to do, but I think what I would do is get killed. I'm not as fat. I was an athlete before. If I was 20 years younger, man, I think I'd be one of the survivors. But yeah, my legs aren't working quite like they used to. I was like, could I get away? Like if I had to like run full speed, not just from zombies, but like anything. These are the kinds of thoughts I've been having lately. But I definitely have the mindset of a survivor, and I think I am one of these weird people that would like probably do some things that like you would cringe at and think are really horrible to try to survive. So yeah, I would give it my best shot, but I might be in trouble.
So for me, it depends on two things. Does my family all get horribly murdered early on and I can't do anything about it? Or do they not? If they don't get murdered, we're all dying. I'm going to have to try to save my family. It's not going to work out well. We're all going to die. If my family all gets horribly murdered, I'm pretty sure I turn into some kind of badass, unempathetic, like vicious survivor who will do anything. So I think in that case, if I have no personal ties any longer, then I probably do pretty well in the zombie apocalypse. So it's all based on how fast my family dies and whether I'm die with them.
So you'd be a Negan.
Yes.
I'm calling BS on that. I think you would just mentally crumble. You'd like sit in a corner and just let them come get you.
Again, it all depends on if my family dies.
What about me? What if I die? That's not part of your.
I mean, sure. You're
I
probably
see
already
how it
dead at that
is.
point anyway.
Yeah, but would you? All right. So if AJ turned into a zombie, would you keep him around to make the other zombies not eat you? Is that
To keep the
like? Are you guys close enough to where you'd keep him, like Michonne kept
no,
her brother?
I mean, he'd still be able to
I think
roll ice, right?
Right?
I think he'd kill me. He'd kill me instantly. I would want him to.
Yeah.
And I know I know there's like some part of him buried in there that's like probably wanted to like punch me at some point. And so if I was a zombie, like he'd get to find that wherever that's buried deep down and take me out.
I would definitely shed at least one tear after I killed you, AJ.
Yeah, you wouldn't
appreciate
keep him
that.
in the shed like on a chain like Ed and Shaun of the Dead.
That's a pet.
No, I would not keep him on a chain.
And in here I have my former business partner.
He's going to make you a game, yeah.
You know that game we play? You know that game we play locked in our bunker all the time? He helped me make that.
The games all have to be made with brains. Then
that could be.
Zombies
Oh, that
would be
reminds
very
me.
incentivized.
What do vegetarian zombies eat?
Mm.
I should
What?
know this.
Grains.
Oh gosh. Can we kick the co-host? Are we
That's
allowed to do
bad.
that? Like,
That's a bad one. That's
My
super
11-year-old
bad.
nephew told me that one. So
oh.
It's a good dad joke.
My 14-year-old will like them.
So what's next for you guys? What are you working on next? Where do you go from here?
So we've implemented kind of some changes this year in our company strategy, and one of the things that's kind of been a byproduct of just our level of success and the time we've put into building and forming and building and growing the company is that Evan and I have kind of lost a lot of our time for design. And so we're making some changes to intentionally get some of that time back this year, particularly after Series 4 delivers. And even now we've started doing some things, but we're going to make a concerted effort to get some more new game designs from myself and Evan. So from a company perspective, if that's what you meant, that's kind of one of the big things going on at Van Ryder.
So where can our listeners find you if they want to learn more about you guys or your company or what you're working on next? Where's the best place to get you?
The best place to get me for sure is our Discord. We have a Van Ryder Games Discord. It is where the heart of our community is. I love going there and interacting with people. So like if you want your best chance to interact with me directly, that's the place to go. I'm also, I'm on Facebook, but I don't do a lot of actual interactions there these days. It's mostly for just keeping tab on industry things and stuff like that.
And our website, www.vanrydergames.com, and it's Ryder with a Y, Ryder.
Well, folks, that wraps up another episode of Roundabout Creative Chaos. You can find us on the web at roundaboutcreativechaos.com. If you have any guest requests or feedback or anything like that, you can send us an email at interviews@roundaboutcreativechaos.com. And we will see you in the after show.
If any zombies happen to get into your house, go for the brains. We insist. Do not leave your house. Thank you very much for your cooperation.
I just want to start a
So you were a baseball player? Really?
I was indeed, yeah.
Weren't
in
you
a
like
past life.
semi-pro?
I was full pro. I was in the minor leagues. I didn't get to the major leagues, but it still counts as pro because I got paid, I think. So, yeah, I played a couple of years in the minor leagues for the Toronto Blue Jays organization.
Nice.
Is that actually in Toronto? Like, is it a Canadian team?
Well, not where I was, but
okay.
The Blue Jays are, yes, in Toronto.
Oh, thank goodness. Because then I read something about you were from Texas. I'm like, wait a second. Was Toronto Blue Jays somehow related to Texas? I got really lost. I went down a rabbit hole.
It's like hockey players in the NHL. A lot of them are from Canada. And most of the baseball players in Montreal and Toronto does Montreal even have a team anymore?
No.
But Toronto is all Dominican and Cuban and Americans, like maybe one or two Canadians.
Is it the Expos?
The
Evan,
Expos.
Don't do this to yourself. They've been gone for like 20 plus years.
I have a story. I saw the first season of the Expos play at Jarry Park before they.
Wait, what is it? Is it Expos hockey?
Oh, the Expos became the Washington Nationals. They're now a different team now.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Jersey, so the only baseball teams I know are the Mets and the Yankees. And then for football, it's the Giants and the Jets.
The Yankees were my favorite team growing up, even though I was from Texas, just because of their
Why did you give up baseball?
Well, so when I got released, it's a funny story. I got released on April Fool's Day in 2004. And so I called Jessica, we were dating at the time, and told her I was coming back because we had kind of just moved to Nashville together. And she didn't believe me because it was April Fool's Day. She thought I was messing with her. I was like, well, I'll see you in 12 hours, then you'll believe me. And I drove home and that was that. But I was like, okay, like I'd seen what other guys in my position had done. You could get picked up by another team and keep trying to grind and make it. And I just decided I didn't want to wake up and be 30 and not have made it, and like not really have any kind of other career. And when I tell you, like, I made, and even, I know this is, 25 years ago, but we made $850 a month playing minor league baseball. So like, I mean, nothing.
Right.
And,
Right.
I had my degree. I just decided I loved baseball, and I did to have a dream to make it to the big leagues. But at some point, kind of in that end of that journey, I made a business decision, a expected value decision, and decided to hang up the cleats.
You still play for fun at all?
No, I played some softball in the past years, but I don't play anymore. In fact, I enjoy watching football more. I'm a pretty big Tennessee Titans fan.
I think that's like a requirement when you're in Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean,
even I have a Titans sticker around here somewhere. I felt obligated.
We got to. I mean, we can't. I feel like we can't get much worse than we have been in the past few years. So I'm hopeful for the next year, and then the year after this year we'll be in the new stadium. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I am just amazed by how you have this beautiful stalker story that turned into like a love story. I mean, you never hear that, right? It's usually, it doesn't end this well.
That's how he meets all his friends and girlfriends, right?
I do. That's right. I stalk them all. I'm a very respectful stalker.
Did you ever imagine this is where it would lead when you met up at that game?
At that point, no. I mean, I knew that this was something I wanted to continue to be involved in. I think probably there were a couple of moments where it began to feel like, oh, this could be something. I remember, so I designed BSG Express that then became Dark Moon, whatever. I'd had that experience with the publisher, and I had a second game. It was called Detective. And I really felt the Detective was something special. And I really didn't want to give it to another publisher. I'd had the experience of giving my game to a publisher and not having total control over it and understanding what that ended up as. And so I thought this was something really special. And I remember early on when AJ and I were initially talking, I kind of laid out the idea of the game for him, and he really got it fast. And I think at that point I realized, okay, this could be a partnership that could really go far. We really have, we're really vibing on the same kind of stuff. And I remember early on, AJ and I mean, this was when we both had full-time jobs. We were like doing other stuff, but we would get together and we would make these like plans. Like, this is our 2-year plan. These are our 5-year plans. These are our 10-year plans or whatever. And we put in like wildly audacious goals and reasonable goals and all this kind of stuff. And we sat there, and I remember, I don't know if it was my goal. AJ says that I'm the one who inspired him that this could be something we could actually do. But at some point we were talking, and I was just like, we go full time. We can quit our jobs and make board games our full-time job. And that should be a 5-year goal or whatever. And this was when this was just now AJ had been doing the business for a while, but in reality, it was small Kickstarters that were being funded and packaged out of his garage. I mean, when I came on and we did Salvation Road, when Salvation Road showed up, I mean, I and my children packaged a lot of the Salvation Road packages to ship on. So that was early on. That was how we were doing it. We were just packaging shit up in our own garages, and AJ had done that for years. So it was a very small operation. It was hard to imagine it becoming what it was now. But when we sat and looked at those goals and we put that goal down, go full time, it became something for us to aim for. And I think that us having that is this is a goal we have to go full time. Even at that point, it felt incredibly, it just felt really audacious. It felt almost insane. Like, how in the world could both of us had 3 children, families? We made pretty good money doing what we were doing. There was almost no way we were going to replace the income we were supporting our families with making board games. And yet we put that down on our goal list. And I think that was something that really at least drove us to actually achieve that.
So you mentioned tariffs earlier, and like, is that because is the stuff produced elsewhere? Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, pretty much all board games, especially on the hobby side. And when I say hobby side, like I'm talking the nerdy stuff. Some of the stuff you can now find in Barnes and Noble and Target and stuff like that. But all of anything with plastics or custom pieces, it's all done in China for the most part. Some in Europe. Europe, Germany has a decent board game production. Poland, but gosh, I'm making the number up, but it's got to be 80 to 90% in China these days. Unless you're just doing something very simple that's like cards and maybe a board. US, there's a couple US factories, but even then the expense, the cost is usually double or most likely triple what you could get it for in China.
It's not even just the cost, Tim. In 2006, I started a publishing company. I was doing board books for children, and I really wanted it, excuse me, I really wanted to be able to produce the books here in the States. And I went out of my way to find people to produce these books and, send me your samples. Let me see what you can do. I'd be willing to pay more to have it done here in the States. And every sample I got back, even though I was willing to pay more, was just trash, honestly.
Yep.
Really?
And I had to produce all the books overseas. I mean, it was a wonderful experience. I got to work with some pretty incredible people, but I would imagine not much has changed since 2006 when it comes to cardboard and plastic.
It's not just cost. It's not like, oh, we go there because it's cheaper. The Chinese, when it comes to printing, are the undisputed experts in the world.
Right.
They are better. They know. Final Girl with our magnetic boxes, impossible. We could not have created that anywhere but in China. Like, I mean, maybe, who knows? But like they are just, not only is it affordable in part because they've like really optimized their supply chains specifically for manufacturing, but because we outsourced all of that to them like decades ago. They got smart and they figured it all out, and they can do stuff there. We can throw stuff at them, new different kinds of things, new different kinds of products, new different kinds of cards, new different kinds of games, whatever. We can throw that at them and they can almost assuredly do it. And here in the States, it's like we can make a box with some cards and maybe a sheet of paper with the rules. It will cost 4 times as much and be twice
apart.
as shitty. Yeah. And that's just because we no longer have that expertise in America. Like we don't have it anymore.
It's unfortunate because a lot of people think, and most of the time they're wrong, it's really not just about the cost. It's about the end product. It's about the quality. And I remember my business partner and I got a lot of flack because it was like, oh, I thought you guys were into having things done America first. I'm like, yeah, but when you're getting things that fall apart, who's benefiting there? Not you, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and that's why the board game community was so up in arms when that happened, is because, like, we would love to print in the U.S. Like a lot of publishers would. It's literally not possible. Like it's like the infrastructure to build that up would take years to do it, to get it to the quality that customers expect, because customers wouldn't accept that poor quality. Like they're used to, what they've been getting, which is the like what Evan said, the top-notch quality and there's a place that comes from, and it comes from China. It's not like it's not like we're trying to make some political statement where we buy the stuff from. It's like, hey,
Mhm.
that's where the quality stuff is. It's like,
Well, yeah.
if you want the best French chocolate, you got to get it from France. Like,
Yeah, I come from print and publishing, and that was my background before I got into app development. And the industry pushed it that way. Like they just pushed everything to have things made overseas, right? I mean, when I was a kid, it was made in Japan, and when I was older, it was made in China, right? So
There's a great there's a podcast I listen to. It's called Search Engine, PJ Vote. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. They have a great episode called it's about a company that wanted to make a barbecue grill scrubber.
right.
And basically they wanted to make the barbecue grill scrubber only in America. Everything made in America. And the whole episode goes into how big of a hassle and how big of a pain it was to do that, and how little expertise there is left in North America when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's a fantastic episode to listen to if you are curious at all about why we all make stuff in China.
Right.
but that's the crazy thing too, is like we're an American company. Like the manufacturer is one part of a multi-part supply chain. Like there are many steps, even from us. We sell to distributors sell to the retailers sell to the customer. Like there's 3 levels of American companies in that chain. So like,
Yeah.
it's just this notion of like, well, to support American, the thing has to literally be made in America. It's a little bit kind of like not actually true. Like you're still supporting a lot of Americans, like when you buy like from us, for example. And so I think it's less of I think some people still, stake their flag in the ground on it, but I think it's a lot of people understand, and consumers understand that we live in a world now that's so connected. And again, I mean, if it ever became possible for us to be able to source in the US, and we source some things from here, but
Yeah, but you make a good
proper
quality product, so.
yeah, games proper. I mean, that's just where the printing's done. Yeah.
And it looks great on my shelf. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. I don't care where it came from. I'm just waiting for the next one. That's all I care about. The next one. All right, gentlemen. Well, it's getting to be 9:00 over here. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I'll do like I said in the email. I don't know how much you read that long email, but I'll do the intro.
I did.
Oh, wow. That's good. Woohoo.
What does it say? I haven't read it.
Yeah, Tim hasn't read it.
I read all the questions. I knew all the questions. I knew which ones Tim stuck in there that weren't in the original list.
Way to go, Tim.
They're from the villain side, yeah.
Sandwich question was not in the original list.
No, it's not.
Clearly, I did not read the list because I felt a lot of my answers were lame. So
your answers were not lame. The best part of post-production is I could take out all the weird stuff or leave it in.
Dead air, yeah.
Cool.
I
Yeah,
always leave all Tim's flubs in.
the
'cause
Tweety
it's way more
birds
fun that
Evan
way.
brought to the podcast.
The what?
The Tweety birds.
The Tweety birds. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in your outdoor studio.
Oh, that's right. I am outside. Are you guys hearing all the birds? Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's okay. Sometimes I think it's in my head, so it'll be fine. Again, I can't thank you both enough for being here. It was amazing. I'm shocked that you said yes. I'm delighted that you said yes. So
It was fun. Thanks for having us. Well, I will say, you guys' webpage is very well presented, and that was a big part of we do get a lot of requests, and sometimes, we try to do as many as we can, but I could tell you guys were a professional, very professional outfit, and it was no different tonight. So thank you so much. And let us know when it comes out, and we'll share it around our circles.
fantastic. All right, gentlemen, have a good night, and
All right.
we'll see
Thank you
Have a
so
good night.
much.
That's it for this episode of Roundabout Creative Chaos. Thanks for sticking around to the end. That's how we know you're one of the good ones. When you're ready for more, come find us at roundaboutcreativechaos.com. And hey, if you enjoyed the show, tell somebody. Leave a review, follow us on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, and point a friend in our direction. It's the best thing you can do for us and for them. Well, short of sending snacks, anyway. So, see you next time, and remember, the zombies are still out there, so stay sharp, keep your brains intact, and whatever you do, don't forget rule number 1, cardio.